Chris Doyle, Director of the Council of Arab-British Understanding and a Middle East commentator. Good morning to you, Chris. The Americans say that they vetoed the proposal because they don't feel that recognition of a Palestinian state can be done without looking at the larger Middle East peace process. Is there something else that they're not saying?
I think this shows the sheer hypocrisy of the United States. It proclaims, as does Britain that abstained, that it supports a two-state solution. It doesn't have any really valid arguments to object to Palestinian statehood. And it appears actually, I think, to the outside world that the United States pretty much takes up the position of Israel in opposing a Palestinian state rather than embracing it. If we are going to get to a solution, statehood for Palestinians is obviously a requirement. I mean, the international community has been backing the very idea of a two-state solution now since 1980 in terms of European Union states, more recently in terms of the US. But there's really no rational reason for the United States, United Kingdom not to back Palestinian full membership of the United Nations. And it's a very grim day for diplomacy, but unfortunately that has been the way really for a long time now, and not just since the 7th of October.
What sort of rights would the state of Palestine gain by becoming a full UN member? Can its allies, especially those in the Arab world, not continue to act for it? For example, Algeria putting this proposal forward. It was a request from the Palestinians, but it had to be put forward by Algeria.
Well, I think that Palestinians would like to be able to have their own voice at the United Nations, not just as an observer. So that observer status gives them access to certain UN institutions like UNESCO, like the Chemical Weapons Convention, and also access to the International Court of Justice, where they actually have a case about the legality of or illegality of Israel's occupation. I think probably the most important thing is largely symbolic. It is a recognition, where it's happened, by the United Nations that there should be statehood, that there are national rights for Palestinians that must be realized, that Israel does not have a veto over that. It doesn't get to decide that Palestinians can't have that state. And I think that if we ever get to a peace process, there is not one right now, then there will be parity of esteem between the two sides. They will negotiate as two states. And we would see, yes, it's true, a Palestinian state that would be born under occupation. That is the reality. I think it's quite something for the Israeli ambassador at the United Nations to claim that the Palestinian Authority doesn't have any authority over the area involved. Well, that is simply because Israel is occupying it. Israel is denying it the sort of authority that a state should have. But of course, it has the apparatus of a statehood. It has ministries, it has a bureaucracy, it has police. It is able, to an extent at least, because of the Israeli occupation, to control the minimal amount of territory of the West Bank that it is partially under its control. So it's a nonsense argument. I think that we need to get forward, and I think that by denying this, it just sends out a message that the US, UK, and the few others that don't back this are really out of alignment with the rest of the international community. They're isolated.
Chris, thank you so much for your time. Look forward to the next one.
Thank you.